Hi everyone, I wanted to share with you some gift ideas for the crocheters in your life. I'm linking all of the items in the description box. None of this is sponsored. These are all items I bought with my own money. I received nothing in return. These are just products that I feel make my life easier and are of higher quality than maybe some of the other stuff you see around. The first thing I'm going to start with is this crochet hook case. I am really bad when it comes to organizing my crochet hooks. Usually I just keep them in Ziploc bags. They're just scattered all over the place. And I got this a while back. It only comes in a cat pattern. And I feel like it's the only way that I actually do, for the most part, keep my crochet hooks in one place. And it has a couple of additional storage spots. This is where I keep like stitch markers, some needles and stuff like that. The next item is high quality crochet hooks. My favorite brands are either Clover or Tulip. I like them equally. Clover are these beige ones with a little padded thumb rest, and the Tulip ones have this ergonomic piece to them. So Amazon also sells these crochet hooks with these ergonomic pieces, but after a while, as you work on it, the ergonomic piece starts to slip off and you have to constantly push it back down. So I don't really recommend the Amazon ergonomic handles. Also, there are like crochet packages you can buy on Amazon with like 10 hooks for $7 of all different sizes. The bigger size hooks are okay, but once you start getting into the smaller sizes, they're really poor quality. So this one actually is bent and the thumb rests are in the wrong spot. So it's actually, they should be a little higher up. This starts becoming very uncomfortable when you're working on a project for a long time. So I don't recommend those cheap little kits. I'd always rather have one or two high quality Clover hooks. I know they're more expensive, but what's going to end up happening is, if you really get into crocheting or the person you know likes to crochet, they're just going to end up replacing these Amazon kits anyway, and these are just going to end up in the garbage. The next item are stitch markers. There's a bunch of different types of stitch markers out there, and I find the best type of stitch marker is the one that I can open and close the fastest. It's very annoying to have to stop over and over to open a hard to open stitch marker. So an example of a hard to open stitch marker are these really thick ones, and you have to push really hard to open and close them. This doesn't fit very well, so I do not recommend this type of stitch marker. I also have Clover stitch markers. These are more expensive, so I use these a little more sparingly. And these are just like very high quality stitch markers. So, you know, if you want to splurge and buy a couple of these, I do recommend them, but they're not necessary. This kit of stitch markers, they were originally separated according to color, but I've used them so many times that they've gotten mixed up over the years. These are almost like safety pins. These are fine when I'm working on like a Janie Crow project and I need to have a stitch marker in every corner of a granny square. The stitch marker is a little slower to open and close, and you kind of have to bend them open a little bit. So these are okay, but I don't 100% recommend them. And then lastly, believe it or not, I bought these stitch markers on Amazon. These are like my favorite stitch markers. I did not expect to like these so much because they were just really cheap. It came with like 100 stitch markers in a package, but there's a couple of reasons why I like them. It has a very sharp point here, so you can slide it into what you're working on very easily. And also they open and close really easily, which I did not expect because I don't usually like these type of plastic stitch markers, and they do look very similar to the ones that I described earlier, but I do recommend these. Any type of sharp scissor is great, especially smaller ones. Fiskars is typically a very good brand of scissor. Polyfill stuffing, if you make amigurumi. This is, I guess it's the original, that's what they say on the packaging, but anyway, this is better quality than some of the other polyfill you see out there because it's more porous. If you need to stick wires or wooden dowels or whatever into your crochet piece, it slides through much more easily than that very dense polyfill that sometimes off brands have. I really love these half moon safety eyes. The only thing I wish is that you could buy this in just one size. I do have these other little tiny sizes that I never use. This medium size that I always use when I put eyes on my amigurumi. And so like this is an example of one of those eyes put on a doll. They have to be attached with glue. I don't like using safety eyes when I make my amigurumis because the post actually causes like a little bit of a scar in the piece, and I just don't like how that looks. This, it just goes on smoothly. You can just eyeball where you want to put it, put a drop of glue and just stick it on, and they never come off, so I highly recommend them. And then keeping in what I was saying about gluing things onto amigurumi, my favorite glue is the Beacon 3-in-1 glue. This stuff never comes off. It doesn't smell, it doesn't make a mess. This is my favorite glue. I also do a lot of modeling and like little kits and things like that that require a lot of glue. And this glue is by far my absolute favorite glue. Next is a little kit of bent needles. Don't know where I put all my metal bent needles, but this is a plastic one. I'm going to link the metal ones that I prefer, but a bent needle is a real game changer when it comes to sewing pieces onto amigurumi. This is a really weird one that I'm going to say. I have a headlamp. This was really cheap. I use this when I'm making something with black yarn. Black yarn is so difficult to see, but I find that this headlamp, believe it or not, makes it very easy to see the black yarn. So I look kind of crazy when I'm making something with black, but it saves me a lot of eye strain. And these are just items that I've bought over the years. I've done a lot of trial and errors with different products, and these overall were the ones that I've been the most satisfied with. I hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe. Have a good day. Bye-bye.